Hey everybody, welcome
Hello.
to episode 27 live edition. I guess I don't know
Sure.
the pre-show. I
Pre-show.
guess yeah.
The live
So
pre-show.
Aaron's cold, so he's
I'm cold, so I got my sweatshirt on. I'm also been sick all week, hence my voice sounding a lot more manlier than I normally sound. But hit us up with your Sharks questions. No Joe, unfortunately, today, so
yeah.
I'm going to be running IT with the questions on the computer as well.
Nice. So we noticed that we're wearing the Fin Factor hats, the new ones, the teal brimmed snapback, and no lie, they are actually very puffy.
They're really nice, too.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
pretty high-quality hat. If that's going to work or not, but you
Yeah.
can see the how puffy those things
The
are.
puffiness.
It's great. And the other logo on the side.
Yeah.
And there's the back.
No, it's really good stuff. I'm really happy with them, and the shirts too. We're really happy with the shirts.
Yeah.
Wow, really super soft. So, yeah, you get the opportunity to pick up one of those. You know, it's a good holiday gift too if you know someone who's a fan of the show. Obviously, you're probably a fan of the show if you're tuning in as well. Treat yourself. Why not? Right? It's not that much. So, but yeah, pretty decent week, I would say.
It's an okay week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we came
I
out
think
of
it's
it.
all right.
At the end of the day, we come out with 2 wins and a loss, right?
Should have been 3 wins, I think. But
Could have been 3
yes,
wins. Yeah.
I'm happy with 4 out of 6 points, I guess it is.
Yeah, not bad at all.
I mean, yeah. Dallas game was tough. I think they should have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's every game is tough on the road, but that just seems, I don't know, harsh.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's what I want to say, but it's just
Now the Arizona game, and we've said it before too, where you're saying, you know, this here we go again feeling, right?
yeah.
Sharks go up 3 goals, and you're thinking, all right, got it. That's the mark, right? 3 goals. That's what you want to get to. If you want to win, you got to get 3 goals.
First to 3 goals.
First of 3 goals.
Maybe sometimes.
Well, it didn't quite.
First to 3 goals in each period.
So yeah, Arizona comes back, ties it up. That 3rd goal, Dell kind of went 5-hole
I
went
think
5-hole on Dell, and
I think it was a soft goal.
yeah,
It was pretty far out.
yeah.
I thought he had the good angle.
Mhm.
He didn't have much to shoot at, and he should have gotten that.
He was, and that's where we were talking about before with when I had a problem with people saying Martin Jones, the goals against were soft. That is what I consider to be a soft goal. He was
Yeah.
set.
Yeah.
He had plenty of time to see it. He had nobody in front of him, and he just didn't close fast enough. And that to me is a soft goal. These other ones where you're talking about, oh, it was soft. All he had to do was go from post to post, and
Yeah.
or it was a high shoulder save, something like that. Those aren't soft in my opinion. But the one that goes 5-hole from the face-off dot, was it?
Maybe, yeah.
It was pretty
A little
far out.
Further out.
Yeah, and he was set. He had his body in the right position, angle wise and everything.
He just
The
got
depth
beat.
on the net, it was just
All right, first
That's
question
awful.
up. Will you guys be excited to see Sorensen without a helmet in warm-ups? How many more games does he need to be eligible to do so? I actually don't know that rule.
yeah.
I don't know. Do you know that rule?
There's a rule on that.
I get probably for rookies, for new guys coming into the league. You
In
can't
warm-ups, you have to play so many games to be able to do it without a
look that
helmet
up.
on. That's an
Um,
interesting. Yes, yes. The answer is yes. I'm absolutely interested. Now that I know that rule even exists, I'm absolutely interested in seeing him without
Gotta
the
see
helmet
that
on, 'cause-
flow, man.
Exactly. Gotta let it go, man. It's we talked about it's a Swedish thing, right?
The hair?
Yeah,
Huh.
Carlson.
Yeah. The flow. They're like, what, 20 years behind?
Yeah.
It's like early 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
When they're almost 30 years. When the Yager flow,
There
and
you
that
go,
was
yeah.
all in there.
That's a full-on mullet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
There's flow and
Did-
then there's
So
that.
Yager was in the league. Last season was his last year he played in the NHL.
Mhm.
The last 3 seasons, there was the traveling Yagers.
Yes.
Did you see them?
Yeah.
There was a group of people that they all wore mullets and they all wore Yager jerseys. And Yager's played for like 10 teams.
Yeah.
So they all have different jerseys on, and they just follow him around and I don't know, hang out afterwards. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I can't really find that rule. I'm not really looking for it well, but anyway, yeah, that'll be great to see Sorensen out there without his helmet, so you can see his flow. I mean, I think that's one thing. Ruzanowski, I think, when he was on the show, he talked about it, how they really need the personalities of players to come out more, and same thing in football. In football, they wear helmets. You don't really get to see those guys' faces as much. when they take their helmets off, and then you get to recognize those players, you get better feedback. You get more stars in the league, and I think the NHL needs that as well. The NHL All-Star Game, they do a lot of skills competition without their helmets
Oh
on.
yeah.
So I know it's a liability thing if they slip and fall and smash their head in the ice, but
they're professionals. The only time they're going to slip and fall is if somebody knocks them down, realistically.
and that's not going to happen in the All-Star Game.
Exactly.
I mean, not during the game. I see
they
wearing
were
the helmet, but during the All-Star competition, maybe the fastest skater, I would wear a helmet just in case he slipped and lost an edge.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, I think the NHL needs to do a better job of that. The only thing about warm-ups, and we've seen this happen at least once or twice a year,
off the post
someone shoots the puck off the crossbar or the post, and it bounces back and either hits them in the face or someone else on their team who's not paying attention because there's pucks flying all over the place. So that's probably the most dangerous thing I can think of for wanting to have helmets on. But even then, you're still going to get hit in the face.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I'm glad that we won that game, but we still need to work on that second period. I agree. In fact, I tweeted out, let's work on, right when the second period started, let's work on that second period goal differential. And then I think the Sharks scored the third goal.
Yeah.
And then they...
Three
in a row.
I don't know, was it 3 straight by them?
I thought it was 2, and then the third they scored in the third period.
Yeah.
But
so it was a -1 in the second period.
It's not helping not helping their cause.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I would think because of all their possession numbers being so well, that the second period would be more domination by the Sharks because the other team would get stuck in their zone more and get tired out more. And it seems to be the opposite, where sure, the Sharks are possessing a lot more, but they also take the lead a lot of the times in the first period. So they kind of relax a little bit. They're still pinching a little bit, and then they give up those odd man breaks.
Yeah.
And maybe it's longer shifts. Maybe it's 2 longer shifts in the second period where guys are getting caught on the ice and getting stuck out there and cheating too, cheating on offense. So they just give up those breaks and stuff. So who knows?
That's a good point actually. In the second period, you have to remember they do have the long change, so that could be a factor as to why. But I mean, you would think that every team struggles with that, and that would kind of even out. And it seems like the Sharks have struggled more than other teams, just looking at the goal differentials in the second period.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we've seen them. They get the lead and they don't keep their foot on the gas.
Yeah.
They just relax a little bit and aren't as tight in their defensive zone, which is pretty much their problem. In Vlasic, there's a big article this week from Kurz about Vlasic, and even I think it was Gackle who wrote it. Somebody on the Mercury wrote it. Similar, not as harsh as Kurz, but similar thing where Vlasic is just not playing very well, and it's kind of odd because he's always been the most consistent defender.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Plus, he's now the third pairing defenseman.
Honestly, I put zero weight in what line he is. He's the defensive pairing defenseman.
In terms of ice time.
When they've got their top gun out there, it's generally Vlasic and Braun out there. Like, I don't care what number he is. I care that he's out there when their top guys are out there, right? That's what it comes down to. So, I could care less what number. Okay, Vlasic and Braun are now the number 1 pairing, and Burns is part of the third pairing now. Does it matter what number they are? He's going to put them out there when he wants them out there, regardless of what their line number is.
Yeah.
Right? So,
well, Kurz's article also mentions that he has like almost no power play points.
Yeah.
Yet he's third in power play time.
Is he really?
For defensemen behind Carlson and Burns.
Well, because no other defensemen play on the power play.
Right, but why wouldn't you use someone else or use
I wouldn't,
a fifth forward?
Yeah, I've talked about this too. I wouldn't put Vlasic on the power play at all, to be honest. Like, I think if you're putting him out there because he's a safety net, then you have to worry about your power. You have to talk about what's wrong with your power play that you need a safety net back there.
I always wonder, do they put him out there because of a contract? Could they ever put anything in their contract that they need a certain amount of power play time?
No.
Or maybe because they're paying him so much that they want to put him out there to...
Maybe.
It just seems weird that you'd keep doing that when it's obviously not working.
I think you've got enough forward depth to make 2 solid power play lines without having to worry about putting Vlasic out there. And you've got, in practices like we've seen, Burns or Carlson double shifting on power plays 1 and 2. and one of them takes a break on the second unit.
It's more or less who was not on the ice,
Right.
when before the power play started, who's fresh and go out there, throw them out there.
Well,
And
so-
if they're both not out there, they'll throw them both out there.
Well, so even then, yeah. So if you put Burns out there and no Carlson, you got 4 forwards.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second unit comes on, you can swap out Burns, or you could just throw Carlson on there and leave Burns there. And then same thing, you can put both of them out there and then take one of them off for the second unit. And they've been doing this throughout the season and during it in practice as well. I just don't see the need to have Vlasic back there. You've already got 2 strong offensive defensemen out there.
And maybe they're worried about breaks going back the other way.
That's the only thing I can think of is if he's a safety net, and if he's a safety net, then you have to start thinking, what's wrong with our forwards?
Yeah.
Why can't we keep the puck in the zone? Why are we concerned on the power play with the man advantage
But
about the puck going the other way?
That's been a thing that we've been
right?
talking about as the team defense.
Yeah.
The forwards not getting back. They know that's a problem. And
That's
they're
true.
giving up a lot
However,
of-
he's also been on the power play last season, the season before. I just don't get it. I don't understand why he's on there.
well,
That's me.
last season they didn't have Carlson and Burns,
So,
just Burns. So they didn't
I
keep
don't care.
Burns out there the whole time.
but okay,
I'm talking about
he's-
last season.
Yeah,
They
last
didn't.
season he's the most defensive defenseman on the team, in my opinion.
Vlasic?
Yeah,
I think
you had
Dylan
DeMello.
is.
You had DeMello. Well, no, he's better.
I guess they
defensively
used
than Dylan.
DeMello on the power play a little
They
bit.
used DeMello on the power play. When you had Heat out there running around every once in a while, you had Heat out doing that.
Yeah.
Ryan was pretty decent as a power play option. I just don't see the need to put Vlasic out there. That's me. I'd rather save him. I'd rather be, hey, the power play failed, and now they put their top players on the ice. I don't want Vlasic out there after having just played 30 seconds of a power play that didn't do anything, and now
Yeah.
he's 30 seconds into a shift where he's got to go up against Stamkos or something, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know, but I'm not Pete DeBoer, so that's what it comes down to.
All right.
Any
Well,
other questions?
no, we're waiting around.
Oh, okay.
Anyone got any more
How
questions?
many folks are sitting?
We
chilling
got
with us?
11 right now watching.
Oh, cool, right on. Well, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate you guys taking the time. I know somebody had said you guys need to do this earlier because it's like 12:30.
Well, they're on the East Coast.
In the East Coast time.
Yeah.
Whoever's on the East Coast, but you got to move. You gotta,
What is your opinion about the team's performance after DeBoer swapping around his staff? Do you think it changed anything? Yeah,
yeah.
I think so. I mean, you've seen. I think we need a bigger stretch
Right.
of games to see it because we played teams that we should be beating, which in the past we haven't been. So now that we kind of are, other than Dallas, the game, I still think we'll see in another week or two. But yeah, I mean, you hear the same guy yelling in your ear, you got to do the same thing over and over, and you're doing it wrong. It kind of just falls on deaf ears at some point. So now you change it up, and any kind of, I mean, I'm sure this is part of the message that Doug Wilson brought down last week too. Is, hey, we're gonna make some coaching changes, move some guys around, and if that doesn't work, then we're gonna blow up the team, and you guys are gonna be all shipped out elsewhere. So, ship up or ship out. So, get your stuff together. So, I have a feeling that's what that meeting was about, and then they actually did the change. And I wanted to go back to see if they had done it in Montreal or not, the Montreal game. I don't know if they'd switched the coaches around yet at that point.
You would
Because
know
the meeting
because
came the next day, I think.
you would know
I was looking on the bench.
from a highlight look. If Dave Barr is on the bench, then you would know. Yeah.
What do you guys eat for dinner? What did you eat for dinner?
Who's asking that? First
This
of all,
is Andrew. I'm gonna butcher your name. Tiarina. I had leftover pizza. It was leftover night at my house. Leftover pizza for me. How about you?
hey buddy, only the best for me. Okay. Panda Express.
Yeah.
No, hey, honestly, like it was one of those nights where we were trying to figure out what do you want to do. I don't know. What do you want to do? And then we were asking the kids, and the kids wanted pizza.
Yeah. And
The
they
kids
always
wanted
want pizza.
Pizza and tacos.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we're not doing pizza and tacos.
That's funny because we had tacos last night and pizza the day before.
There you go. See,
That's
this
why
is the
they're
life.
left over.
This is the life of parents and
Dad
and
life.
San
Hashtag
Jose.
dad life.
Hashtag dad life. So yeah, no, just went over to Panda, got some broccoli beef,
Yeah.
some gosh, what else did I get here? I don't even know. Oh, orange chicken,
Of
delicious. Orange chicken's phenomenal.
You're such a white boy.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, come on, what else are you gonna get? Kung Pao chicken.
Walnut shrimp.
Tina got
Was
that.
the
We
walnut
got
shrimp
that.
right
We got
there?
that. We got that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I know it's $1 extra, but it's,
125.
oh, they upped it.
Hey, buddy, this is San Jose. It's
Wow.
expensive.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
that
went
was
all out.
that was a great off topic. All right. Do you guys think Joe Thornton will play next year? I think it depends. I think it depends on how the season goes. I'd like to see how many points, how effective he is, how healthy he is. Hopefully he doesn't blow out his third knee, if that's possible. So he blew up both of them.
Yeah.
If the Sharks win a cup, I would imagine that he would retire.
Yeah.
If they don't win a cup but they come close, I would think that he'd want to try again. I mean, he's signing these very team-friendly deals, so I don't mind him being our third-line center. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I bet the way he plays, barring any injuries, the way he plays, I could see him playing at least another 1 or 2 more seasons after this.
I feel like, yeah, if we win the cup, he's done.
Yep.
Outside of that, I think we might be seeing his last season with the Sharks next season. I think I have this feeling that we're going to have, if Erik Karlsson doesn't sign, that we're going to have the cap space. Instead of offering him $11 million or whatever it is, we're going to have that money to offer a 1C. And if we do, and we get somebody in who can take over the reins, being like the top guy, if Logan Couture isn't considered the top guy. I mean, he may be the best forward that we have right now, but I think he's a great second-line center.
I'm going to look right now on Cap Friendly to see what's coming up, who's coming up.
And I don't know. I just see that if we don't win and we end up bolstering up again for another cup run, I think he would love to re-sign with us and do, again, like a 3C or 4C or whatever it is. We see Kevin Labanc playing on the low utilization line, let's call it, and he's actually been a offensive threat for that line. He's helped that line become more deadly because he doesn't belong on that line. He's being relegated to that line because of his play right now. But he belongs higher up. He belongs on the second line. He belongs on the third line, whatever else. But he's a good player. He's a really good player. And when you put him on with guys like Goodrow, who's a grinder, who go out there and just work, and Labanc's, his stick handling and his skating is very underrated, I think. I've seen him breaking across that line often, and he does a really phenomenal job, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves, I think. Alongside a guy like, say, Melker Karlsson, who, again, he's a fourth-line guy. There's nothing wrong with that. When you put those guys together, I think it's hard for other teams' fourth lines necessarily to match. I think they even scored a goal recently, didn't they? The fourth line did.
Last game.
Yeah, it was
they
last
scored
game.
the winner.
Yeah, Radil was in.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was a sweet backhand.
The real Radil.
Jeez. All right, here's the top free agents going into next year.
Go ahead.
For centers,
Yes.
Spezza.
No.
Matt Duchene.
Yes.
He will be 27 years old.
Matt Duchene.
He's hurt right now. He just got a really bad injury.
That's okay.
He'll be out for a couple
He'll
months.
be cheaper.
Pavelski.
Yeah.
Panarin. Oh, he's a winger.
He's a winger.
Dave Bolin.
Is Eberle on there or no?
Eberle is on there. He's a winger.
NHL 19, they keep picking up Eberle. I noticed that. The Sharks do.
Derek. Yeah, that's going to happen then, huh? That's it pretty much for top centers. There's not very much out there. And who knows if those guys will sign extensions between now and then.
Right.
Interesting, Bobrovsky is going to be a free agent. He hasn't signed anything yet. Erik Karlsson, obviously. Varlamov is another goalie. Not that we need a goalie, but a lot of bigger name people, more so than last year. Jimmy Howard is going to be out there. They're getting older, though.
I wouldn't look for somebody who's in their 30s. I would look for somebody who's just outside of that RFA window, somebody who's still pretty young.
Duchene is going to be probably the hottest center, younger center. Panarin's obviously going to get paid. I mean, maybe we go after Panarin.
We could, but I think we need a center more than we need wingers.
Do they bring back Pavelski?
Yeah.
Panarin?
I think they bring back Pavelski. I know you don't think that they do, but
if they don't bring Karlsson back, then I think they do.
If they don't bring Karlsson back, they bring Pavelski back.
If they
plus
sign
one.
Karlsson, I don't think they're going to sign Pavelski. That's what I think. All right, a lot of comments coming in now. Whew. Nice hats, nerds. Thank you. You can get these in our store.
We have to reiterate again. They are puffy. They're super puffy. They're like standing off of the thing by I don't even know how much, but they're
quarter
sticking
of an
off.
inch. I mean, it's pretty far.
It's pretty far out. Yeah.
Do you guys think the poor ice conditions in San Jose have affected Karlsson production? No, I don't think so at all. That's only. Well, that's only half the games.
It's emphatic.
Well,
no.
It's not like he's playing awesome on the road and terrible at home. I think, what we talked about with Randy and with actually not even with Randy, with Dan occurs is it just they're expecting 25 games for him to settle in, and it's been now we're at that
They
mark.
were saying 25, 30 games. We were
Right.
saying 20,
20,
15, 20?
25.
What were we
Yeah.
saying? Yeah, 15, 20 I think is what we said.
I mean, he's shifted his entire life. Him and his wife moved across the country,
Yeah.
and they're living in a new place. They have to figure out how to do everything in their day-to-day lives. So it's a big transition for somebody, especially when you're coming from a team in Ottawa where you were the man, you're the captain, you're the best player on the team, you score the most points every year. And then you come to San Jose, and you're like the 5th best player, kind of, maybe 3rd best player, you know? So you're not expecting you to have as much responsibility on your shoulders, which could also maybe he doesn't try as hard. I mean, he was getting to the point where he wasn't scoring goals. He was getting frustrated. It took him 21 games to score his first goal, 21st game, I think it was. But he just, you could see how frustrated he was. But at the same time, I don't think he's doing as much or feels like he needs to do as much as he did when he was in Ottawa. Because if he didn't do anything in Ottawa, they'd lose.
Yeah.
Like, it depended on him. Now he doesn't do anything here. You know, Burns could do something, or Pavelski, or Couture, or somebody else. You know, so I think that's a bigger part of it than the ice. I'm not too worried about the ice because both teams are playing on the same ice.
Right. That's the thing is he may be playing on, even if it's bad ice in San Jose, which I'm sure it is. He may be playing on that ice more often than he was, like, say, in Ottawa, obviously. But the other teams coming in, that's a surprise for them, right? Because if they're playing on good ice and then all of a sudden they come to San Jose, and it's like, what is this, right?
Yeah.
If anything, he'll acclimate to that faster than the other teams would. You'd think he'd be playing a little bit better. So I don't think it really has anything to do with the ice conditions. I think it's anything and everything to do with all the things that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
The other thing that kind of gets overlooked is the whole situation with the wife. That's a traumatic experience. I mean, he's kind of got to be a pillar for his wife and everything still, and I think people kind of overlook that and brush it aside, mostly because they've never had to go through that. Thankfully, I've never had to go through that, so I really can't speak to how difficult it is or how difficult it must be. But I can imagine how hard it's got to be to try to get past all that stuff, and play in a new city, like you said.
Well, his wife is from Ottawa, so all of her family and friends and all of her root
support
system
group
is there.
is all there. Yeah.
Then she moves to San Jose and knows nobody.
Yeah.
As far as I know, they didn't know anyone. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's, and I get it. People are gonna say, "Well, hey, you're a professional, you get paid to play." Yeah, but you have to understand too. These guys are human beings.
Yeah.
Just like you and me. They're just human beings. When you have a bad day and you go to work and you don't perform, like, at least you don't have a bunch of media writing about it, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm not trying to give him a free pass here, but I just think it's something that a lot of people can't understand, and therefore they kind of don't even consider that as a potential reason why he's not playing well.
Can you think of a 4th-line center that is available to help balance our forward group? Yeah, I don't know any off the top
You'd
of
have to
my
look
head.
at the free agents, anybody with 1 year left on their contract who is currently on a team that sucks on the East Coast. That's what you'd have to look for.
You know who is available right now?
Who?
Rick Nash.
Oh, God. Get out of here. Just leave now.
Imagine him a 3rd line with Thornton
No.
for cheap.
No, I don't want to.
If you can get him for $1 million near the trade deadline, like right around then, you just sign him and you.
Here's the biggest problem with that. How long has it been since he played?
Last season.
Okay. So he's been sitting down for...
He's well rested.
He'll have sat for 50-something games or whatever it is,
well-rested.
right?
He scored 21 goals and 13 assists last year in 71 games for the Rangers.
For the Rangers. How long had he played for the Rangers?
He was there for a while.
Okay. And how long will he have been at any team that he signs with?
A 1-year cheap deal. You wouldn't want him on your team?
I wouldn't. Honestly, I don't think so. I think he sat out for far too long. He's not in game ready shape right now.
Yeah.
And I think that any time, any system you try to incorporate him into that's not the New York Rangers system,
I was just trying to prod him
Done deal.
because I knew he would hate it.
See.
One guy who I mentioned
Do we have any haterade?
before the season started was Antoine Vermette.
Yes.
I think he would be a great addition to the 4th line because he's a great penalty killer and an awesome face-off guy.
Having said that,
He's cheap.
Look at the guys we have that are stepping up from the Barracuda right now. Right?
Red deal?
I'm not saying, look at. You're not going to get 20, 30 goals out of your 4th line. Doesn't really matter, right? I think if you've got a guy back there who is holding his own and playing well enough, you don't need to spend a draft pick or a prospect or anything on getting a rental player for your 4th line.
Right.
Right? I think the guys that are stepping up are doing good enough for fourth line
Well,
duties.
the thing with signing Vermette is you wouldn't trade anyone. You wouldn't lose anything.
You
You'd be
just pick him
signing
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is he a free agent right
Yeah,
now?
he's a free agent right now. That's why I was like, it's cheap.
That's
Same with Nash. He's a free agent right now.
See, if that was in consideration, I'd do that right now,
You
or I
lose
would have
nothing.
already done it.
You're just paying him.
I would have done it before though, because you gotta incorporate him into the system.
I'd want to see what the system could do first, like all those guys, and you're like, it's just not quite there.
Sure.
Let's bring him in. Good veteran presence.
You could do
I'm talking about
professional tryout,
Vermette, not Nash.
You could do professional tryout stuff. Yeah, I'd see.
But if you do a professional tryout, everyone's gonna be watching him, and then they'll sign him before you can.
Okay, wait for somebody else to waste their time with the professional tryout and then sign him, I guess.
All right, hold on. I'm planning on attending my first Sharks game when they go against the Kings. Any tips? I will not scream woo, I promise. This is a good one. Let's see.
No, that's it. That's the tip. Next question.
Kings game is a great choice, first of all. There's going to be a lot of animosity, even though the Kings are garbage this year. But that's good because the Sharks will probably beat up on them. Right now, Jonathan Quick is healthy, so he's playing.
Yeah.
And he's a good goalie, and he usually plays pretty well against the Sharks. So it's exciting to see when he loses, and he loses his frustration and smashes his stick over the goal. He's a very emotional player.
Yeah.
I'd say get there early.
Yeah.
So
okay, if he or she can respond, are you bringing a child with you? Would be one of my first questions. If it's just you, the coming early, that's fine. You can go and check them out while they're doing their skate to kind of loosen up and everything before they come out on the ice. Before they lower the shark head and everything else. I'm sure you know all about everything that happens like during the game because you watched it on TV.
Well, you don't even need a kid to go down there. You can just go down.
You
there.
can, but if you want to get like a puck or something like that, you bring a kid and you got a pretty good chance of getting the puck flipped over.
Episode 16, we talked about fan etiquette.
Oh yeah, that's
true. You
They
can look
go
back.
check that out.
That's a good tip. Go check out episode number 16 of the Fin Factor. We talked about fan etiquette and
tips.
And
Exactly
some
the
tips
question
and
that
stuff.
you're asking.
Yeah, so that one's actually not a bad one. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. Be friendly. Like the people there are friendly and everything. Oh, don't lean forward. That's one of the things you'll find in that episode is when you lean forward, people behind you get pretty upset because they can't see. Stuff like that. But really what it comes down to, it's just another sporting event. Like any sporting event you've gone to, go there, enjoy it, have a good time. The one thing I will also suggest to you is maybe if you're in town for more than just that one night, go check out the Barracuda if they have a game around that same time frame. It's a lot cheaper. You'll see a lot of those prospects. Rourke Chartier is playing down there with the AHL right now.
Too.
Perron is killing it. Halbgevaux.
So the game tonight, they scored. We got to the arena. I think the Anthem was playing, so we got there before the game started. But we're walking around because we signed up Calvin for the kids club, Cuda Kids Club, so we had to go pick up our stuff. And while we're there getting his stuff, they scored 3 goals in the first 2 minutes of the game or 3 minutes of the game. I think I sent a message out. I'm like, oh my god, like it just keeps scoring, keeps going on and on. So when we got to our seats, it was already 3-0, 4 minutes into the game. They didn't score, of course. The rest of the period. Then second period goes by and they scored one more late in the second period, so it was up 4-0.
Yeah.
But then we left because it was bedtime.
It's a great time. Check out the Barracuda as well if you get the opportunity to go out there. It's like $10 for general admission, and it's just a really great time. But with the Sharks, honestly, the tips would be just go check out that episode number 16, and then just have a good time. Really, is what it comes down to. Don't get drunk. You know what I mean? Good time. Good to have you out there too. When is that game? Let's see if I'm going.
Which
the LA game.
Oh.
Yeah, if we're going, we'd love to say hi to you and everything. Where are you from? If you can put that in there as well. I'm just curious.
Could be a Kings fan too.
Kings at Sharks, Saturday the 22nd.
Oh, could be a Kings fan. Oh.
No, I don't think
disregard all that I just said if you're a Kings fan. Go burn.
Let's see, I'm going back a little bit here. I'd really like to see LeBanc sampled at center. He's had incredible passing ability. That's kind of hard to move somebody.
Yeah.
LeBanc needs to be stronger with the puck and needs to work on his board plays, question mark.
Yeah. Well, he's a smaller guy, so it's going to be hard for him to outmuscle dudes.
He's young. He's going to get bigger as he get a little bit bigger, not much.
I think his
style of play is not grindy, though.
That's exactly what I was going to say, style of play. His style of play isn't so much to be strong on the boards. His style of play is to get away from the boards and to cut towards the net. He's got a good stick. He's got good speed. His foot speed's really nice. So
That person's a Sharks fan. Trust me.
Okay, good.
Duchesne's on IR. Yeah, I was talking about Duchesne earlier. I know he's on IR now, but I was talking about signing him over the summer when he's a free agent next year. Not getting him right now. Do you think they'll bring Pavs back next year? We kind of discussed this earlier. I think if they don't sign Erik Karlsson to a 8-year, $11 million, $12 million deal, they'll have the cap space and they'll bring back Pavs. If they sign him, I don't think they're going to be able to do it, so I don't think they would sign him. So if Karlsson is not coming back next year, then I think Pavs will be. I think they'll bring him back. And I also think I'm leaning now towards that Karlsson's not going to sign here. I think for the first time in his career, he's going to be able to choose where he wants to go because so many teams are going to want him.
Yeah.
So he's going to be able to finally go, I want to play in this city. I want to play here. I want to be closer to Ottawa, and maybe not Ottawa, but closer home to that area. So I bet he goes back to the East Coast. I think the West Coast game is a lot more grindy and bigger bodies, and he doesn't like it. So that's my opinion.
And I think that some people are going to see that as a loss for Doug Wilson. And in some respects, I agree. In other respects, not so much. Here's the thing. You gave up Chris Tierney, who is probably, arguably, the best part of that trade. Your first round pick is going to be a late round pick. Your Dylan DeMello, although he was good, solid defenseman, was like your bottom pair defenseman. Okay, I don't
He's
care.
The seventh defenseman.
Yeah. Okay, there you go, seventh. So I don't see him as a big loss. No disrespect to Dylan, he's a great player, but on this team he wasn't a big piece of the defensive core really. Yes, losing Tierney for me was me shedding a single tear. Yes. The first pick again is going to be later. Who else do we give up? Norris. Josh Norris,
and he's on the U.S. team,
who's a solid prospect, but outside of that,
prospect.
Yeah, we've seen solid prospects not turn into anything.
Yeah, when they get to the NHL level, they don't do anything. Like Dylan Strome.
I was just gonna say Dylan Strome. Yeah,
he was the 3rd overall pick for Phoenix, or was it?
No, yes. Oh boy, was it Phoenix? Yeah, you gotta look that one up.
I thought it was Phoenix.
Regardless, Dylan Strome, he has had a hard go with his career so far. He got
Phoenix,
traded around.
Or Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. He just got traded to Chicago.
That's a good pickup for Chicago, I think. I think they can help him become a good player.
This is a perfect example of somebody who tears it up in both the OHL and then when he got to the AHL. I mean, he had 53 points in 50 games in the AHL last season. His last season in OHL 2 years ago, he had 75 points in 35 games, like just destroying it.
Okay.
This is the guy that should translate well.
He also had Connor McDavid on his team.
Okay, well, going back 3 years ago, maybe when Connor was on the team.
Connor was probably still
129 points in 68 games. 2 points per game.
It's phenomenal.
Then he went to 111 in 56 games. I mean, just crazy.
Yeah, so the point being is that I don't think that we gave up as much as people really think that we did. We gave up a lot of line items. We gave up, a third-line center, a defenseman, a prospect, a first, and then potentially another first, right? Mm-hmm. So we gave up line items.
If he signs, we give up more.
I'll say this. Right now, Perron is looking like a solid pickup
but again,
for the AHL squad. No, I'm not saying he's going to jump in the NHL, but he's a solid pickup for the AHL squad, which maybe that's all Josh Norris would have ever been for us, so who knows. But for the rest of it, getting a guy like Erik Karlsson, if it doesn't work out, I still think that's not such a bad thing because you've cleared up a ton of cap space now. If you were going to pay him $11 million, that's cap space that you get to use on a Mac Duchene or on a Jason Spezza if you wanted to, but I wouldn't. No. Yeah, I wouldn't either. But I'm just saying, there's guys out there that if you wanted to pick somebody up, your team is not going to become irrelevant all of a sudden just because Erik Karlsson decides he wants to go back east, if that's the case.
Right.
So I think we're still in a really good spot, and it's one of those things where we gave up some stuff for a potentially rental player, but at the end of the season, we've shed a little bit of cap.
I wouldn't even say it's a rental player because he was there the whole season. He's not coming at the trade deadline.
There you go. Yeah. So we give some guys for a whole season's worth of a player
plus playoffs.
Right.
So it's better than a rental player in my opinion.
No.
And I think
I agree.
Getting to the trade deadline, I think the price would have gone up. Honestly, I think the Sharks would have given up more to Ottawa for him as a rental player because they'd be competing with more people. I think at the trade deadline, if everyone knew that Karlsson was on the block,
Well,
they would go to the highest bidder. And I
the
don't
funny
think-
thing is, Carlson was like in tears about leaving because he didn't think he was going to get traded. So
Right.
the question that begs the question: would they have even traded him
Right.
with the block? Right.
Yeah,
But who knows?
who knows?
I don't know.
All right, a couple comments about fourth line guys. Kevin Hayes and the Rangers would be a first pick as a fourth line center. That's a pretty good pick. Eric
Yeah.
Fair again, maybe, but I think if they wanted Eric Fair, they would have signed him
Hayes
this year.
how young is Hayes? He's 20.
Hayes?
5, 6.
Let me see.
He's a younger dude, isn't he?
Kevin Hayes is 26.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, he's making $5 million a year.
Oh. Yeah,
lot
that's too much
for-
for a fourth line center, I think. Yeah, 5 million. Jeez. I mean, Tierney was making 2 million. He was our 3C.
I mean, he's got 19 points in 29 games. That's pretty good. He's more like a third line guy.
Yeah.
So
but
I think it's too much money for a
you
fourth line
wouldn't be able
guy.
to afford him. Yeah.
Hi from Sweden. Hi,
Hey.
Mixon. Jojo is going by themselves. The person who's going to the Sharks game for the first time.
Okay.
They're going by themselves. Jojo, they say their name is, they call me Jojo. So talk with the people around you too. Most of the Sharks fans that you sit near, whatever, they're going to be very friendly,
Friendly,
and talk to you. Is Timo going to get paid? Yes.
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 Big
Who
time.
just got paid? Nylander.
Mhm.
He's probably gonna try and base it off of Nylander. They're about the same
He'll make-
age, same class.
He'll probably make 5.5, I think.
I think it depends on what the Sharks want to do. If they want to pay him 5 or 6 for a longer time,
Mhm.
or maybe give him $4 million over like a year or two, is kind of like another
Bridge
show
deal.
me that you could really bridge deal. Show me what you could do, and then we'll really sign a big contract.
Yeah.
I could see that happening too.
That scares me more. I'd rather lock him up
Right.
longer term, yeah, for a few, $1 million more or $2 million more, whatever it is, than pay him $4 million for a couple of years, have him get really good, and then have to pay him, $9 million or something like that for
Yeah.
8 years. I'd rather see him do a full term contract with Timo. Try to lock him in at a lower price if possible. Yeah.
Have you guys heard any conflicts between Carlson and Vlasic? Been reading on Sharks message boards that there was a possible conflict. Honestly, I don't see it, but I thought I'd ask. The only
Sources.
Yeah, there's no sources. If you go back to our last episode, there was someone commenting on there. Had a couple long comments on there. And they sounded like they were an Ottawa fan, and they weren't a fan of Carlson. They were glad that he left.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me think, like, wow, because you look at Ottawa, everyone said, once they traded Carlson, like, oh, they're going to be the worst team in the league, and the locker room has completely changed. And I don't think it's a negative thing on Carlson. I think it's just the team stepping up because they're like, our leader's gone.
Yeah,
So we
you have
need
to.
people to step up and take
Yeah.
over, and that's what they did. And I think it's probably a little bit looser of a locker room than it was before. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. So I haven't heard anything bad between him and Vlasic. I think Vlasic's just having a bad year.
Yeah.
Just a case of the yips.
Yeah, I think part of the issue is you've got 3 Norris candidates on your blue line, and each one plays on a different line. And when they're used to playing almost half the game, like Burns and Vlasic, used to playing almost half the game each, and then you've got Carlson in there now, who is taking on more minutes, I think, than either of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if that causes a rift necessarily, but maybe they're just used to playing more minutes, and they'd rather play the more minutes than can kind of be, pushed off to the side a little bit by this guy who comes in and is, supposed to be like this magic man and hasn't really done it just yet. So I don't know if there's a rift necessarily, or if there's any like resentment towards that or anything. I will say this: there was a video of Carlson bringing the puck up the left boards, up and out of the zone. He flipped it up and out, and it just bounced, and the other team picked it up, and you see him slamming his stick. Prior to that, when he's coming up the boards, you hear someone yell "Carl," and then he flips it, and then someone says
F off,
explicit,
Carl.
they F off Carl like that, and the internet went nuts because it was like
They thought it was Dylan.
Dylan, and it's
but
like
it wasn't Dylan.
it's not Dylan. That's not Dylan's voice. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that there's any animosity among the group towards Carlson, and I think people are trying to make a narrative of that, and I just don't think that's the case.
Right.
From what I've seen going to the practices, everyone is always happy with each other, so I just don't get that feeling from being there, like with them, essentially looking at them on the ice, seeing how they interact with each other. I just don't get that feeling. And that explicative that was screamed out. There's mics all over the place. That could have been.
I think it was the other team.
It could have been the other team.
Yeah.
It could have been a fan that was upset with his Carl's Jr. burger. Who knows? So I mean, I don't know. I just don't think that we should feed into these stories that may or may not have anything to them. I think if there's a report that comes out of the locker room, like a player said this about another player, then okay, yeah, take that for what it's worth. But I think if we're just kind of wildly speculating, that's fine to speculate, but let's not use it as gospel essentially.
Yeah. Should Sharks fans panic if Karlsson doesn't re-sign by the end of February? We kind of went over this. I don't think they should panic. I think the Sharks are in good shape regardless, with or without him.
Yeah.
We got Burns for another 6 or 7 years, and
yeah. I don't see it as a team. Even when you're saying that Wilson's talk potentially included saying we may have to blow up the team. Do they really need to blow up the team though? I mean, they've got a lot of players that are signed for longer than that 1 year. Usually, when you're blowing it up, you're selling.
Who knows who else?
Yeah, so maybe the team's rallying around that.
Yeah,
sure. But then you look at the rest in terms of panicking as a fan. Yeah, maybe you lose Pavelski and Thornton if this season doesn't go well, but you've got a whole lot of other pieces that are locked up for a long term, and then you'll have a lot of cap space because you're not going to pay Karlsson if he doesn't return. If Pavelski and Thornton get shipped out, that's $10 million or so. It's a little more than $11 million. I think Pav's making $6 million and Joe's making $5 million. That's 21 mil right there, 22 million right there in the potential contract in Karlsson and the 2 contracts in the Joes that you can go and do something with. So are we screwed? Are we hosed? I don't think so. I think we got a lot of good pieces and we'll have a whole lot of cash to throw around for the next big thing. In other words, I don't think we're going to have to take a step back. We're not going to have to take a step back where we're missing playoffs because, Erik Karlsson left. No, we got plenty of good talent on this team, and we'll have plenty of money to sign more.
Yeah. Do you think if we don't get Karlsson, do we go after Doughty? Because Doughty signed. Come on, I'm sure Couture is fighting for him. No, Doughty just signed a new deal with LA.
Yeah.
And LA is not going to trade him.
Especially not
Doughty,
to San Jose.
Right, and Doughty has no say in the game. So, I mean, he probably even has a no movement clause in there. I don't know, but either way, like Doughty and Couture, they even talked about it. Like, they're not really friends. They trained together at the same place in the offseason, but they weren't really friends. And they grew up, I think, playing against each other.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they were teammates. I don't know.
They probably hate each other that much more just because they played against each other, like growing up and everything.
Right, and they always mention that they're friends. And I remember a while back, maybe a couple years ago, Doughty was like, "We're not friends. Like we don't hang out together. We don't do anything together." So it's not like he's trying to get his buddy on the team or is like, "Hey, Doug Wilson, you should go after an LA." They're division rivals.
Yeah,
they're not going to trade within the division,
right.
Especially a defenseman like that. Do you guys think Calgary is legit this year? I think I said it before the season started, or maybe in the first couple of weeks, that I could see Calgary doing well. I think they're going to be in the top 3 in the division. I think legit as in cup contender. I don't think they're quite there, but they're definitely going to make playoffs. Once they get their goaltending situation, which Mike Smith the last week or 2 has turned it around. I think he's on a 5-game winning streak now. Nice. He was awful in the first stretch, like worse than Martin Jones was, and people were freaking out about Martin Jones. So he's turned around and done well. They also have their backup Rittich, who was doing all right. I think it's either Riddick or Rittich. Mm-hmm. He was playing pretty well, and then he just kind of took a dump. And they same situation where they have Jones and how we have Jones and Dell. They have Smith and Riddick, and took over and then couldn't quite do it, and they fell off the earth. And the other guys came back.
And to the Sharks, where your back plays backup games and backup minutes and is not expected to be the starter and jump in and take over the reins for a long extended period of time. He's good for a game or 2 to help get your starter the break that he needs, and then your starter comes back in. Now, whether or not in a single game one of them is better than the other, it's the longevity of it. Jones is capable of playing 60, 70 games, whereas Dell is simply not capable of playing that long of a stretch and still be fairly consistent in his play. That's just what we've seen by the numbers. So, I know that there's been some talk about that before, and hopefully that's kind of been squashed after the back-to-back shutouts and then back-to-back, not back-to-back, but the consecutive blowouts where Dell was in net. It's not the goaltender, it's the defense, and I think they've done a better job of showing that up recently, and hopefully that just continues. But having said that, we are out of time. So maybe we can get our producer to put the website on the screen for you guys or something, so you can check out the finfactor.com, the hats and the shirts that we've got for sale. Really awesome shirts, super soft, like ridiculously soft. And they're coming in some nice colors. The teal looks great. The gray looks awesome. I know everybody was jonesing for the black one. I said jonesing, but whatever. They really want the black one. I will encourage you to give the teal and gray a look too, though, because they're pretty nice.
Let me pull them up real quick.
What's that?
The shirts?
If you want to pull them out, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
We're basically out of time, but sure. And then obviously
the shirts.
Oh, you have the shirts or no? Yeah, grab a black one. That's fine. Right. And the I have a V cut, don't I?
It's right here.
Oh, it's right there. Okay, yeah, that's the women's V cut. Yeah, so it's nice. Slimming more around the waist and everything. Nice big logo on the front, and we got the Bring Hockey Back on the sleeve there.
This is the unisex shirt.
God, these are so soft.
I know.
Yeah, so check them out.
Soft and stretchy,
if you want to support the show, this is the best way to do it. All of the money that we get goes into supporting the show for, events, for any of the costs for the productions and whatnot. So it helps us out a lot, and obviously you guys look styling too. So.
And then when you get them, take some pictures out
Yes.
and send them to us, and we'll post them on the show. Why
Yeah,
not?
absolutely
We'll
will.
post them on our sites, on the show, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. This looks like our mics are cutting out, so we might be having some technical issues.
Oh, okay.
It looks like we froze.
Oh, no.
So if you can still hear us, thank you for watching. We're going to record our show.
Yep.
Our episode. So we'll catch you later.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.